For all you people standing, there's chairs here. Put your asses in the chairs. You're making me nervous, okay? You know, it's not like I'm going to loom over you and bite your face or anything. So, let's begin.
Really?
Hi.
Hello.
Nobody's sitting over here. I can walk on these. Okay. Keep reminding me. Talk into this one, drink from this one. The important thing to remember. The important thing. All right. I have just been informed about 15 minutes ago that I'm doing this panel. I wouldn't have started on this if I'd known I was doing a panel. So I apologize if it tends to wander a little bit, because I'm kind of wandering a little bit right now. Anyway, furries and the media. Let's start with the very, very basic question. Why do we need such a discussion? Well, anybody who doesn't know the answer to that question hasn't been around long, have they? Pardon me. We have had a few black eyes given to us by the media. We've had some very, very good reporting, and we've had some reporting that, shall we say, focused on aspects of the fandom that we really try to minimize. Here is where I have been given a lot of criticism myself. People say, oh, Uncle Kage is always trying to whitewash the fandom. Damn right I am, yeah. Okay. You know, somebody takes a giant camera like this gentleman has back there. By the way, he's cool, I know him. Takes this and puts it in your face and puts a microphone in your face. What is it that makes furries start talking about, yes, I like to do it doggy style with a newspaper stuffed up my ass? It's like, what got into you? Other than the newspaper. Pardon me? So, I started doing this talk to inform, to educate, to enlighten folks, both in how the media does their job, how we as furries can, as they say in that business, put the best spin on things. Why is that necessary? Here's why. And here is where I get a lot of political heat thrown at me. I have had tons and tons of drama piled on my head because of what I'm about to say. But you know what? I'm old. I can take it. When furry fandom first began, as an organized fandom, late 1980s, early 1990s, it was organized by some fellows in a West Coast region who, as enthusiastic as they were, really did not pay much mind to the sort of public image they were giving to this burgeoning fandom. The early furry conventions, let's face it, I was there. Some of these early fan conventions for this little furry fandom that was first emerging into the world scene kind of looked like Pride Fest on an acid trip. Now, okay, it's great that you're feeling free. It's okay that we are free to be ourselves. But, you know, when the news cameras are shined on you, you really should try to put your best suit on and at least wash your face. You know, you don't want to go in the news camera with your zipper hanging down and willy hanging out. You think I'm making that up? Anyway, unfortunately, first impressions are lasting impressions. That was how the world at large first saw furry fandom. Since those days, this fandom has grown. We are a worldwide phenomenon. We're a collection of estimates upwards of tens of thousands of what I am very, very proud to call some of humanity's finest dreamers. We are people of boundless imagination. We are creators. Every single one of us, in his own right, is a creator, whether you're a costumer, whether you're a writer, whether you're an artist, whether you're a performer, whether you're simply a person who exercises that imagination that the good Lord gave to every single one of us to dream up these worlds and to share them with everyone else. We have the most creative, the most inventive people on the face of the earth. This is something to be very, very damn proud of. But unfortunately, in the eyes of the general public, they're still fixated some 20 years ago on those very, very early images. Does furry fandom have adult art? Duh. Yes, we have our adult art. So do the Star Trek fans. So do the bronies. Yeah, you can't tell me the bronies don't got... No, I've seen that stuff, okay? Yeah, I got some of it. Anyway. Every single fandom, which is populated by people of youth, has a tendency to occasionally mix that fandom with, shall we say, less than Sunday school level concerns. This is going to come as a terrible, terrible shock to many people. And I'm going to be the one, as an authority, to deliver this information to you. All you people on there on YouTube, sit down, grab your seat, because here comes the news. Young people sometimes have sexual thoughts. We can prove that scientifically. And I got the coat for that. Yes, any fandom out there has its, shall we say, less than stellar side. Comic book fandom. Why do you think Wonder Woman has that uniform? You know, you don't see Wonder Woman dressed in like a long black dress and with, you know, completely body covering. No. She has a uniform which she barely wears in every single issue. Why is that? Let's be honest. A lot of comic book artists don't date much. But because furry fandom jumped out on the world stage and said, you know, look at all the lascivious stuff that's part of our fandom, that's what people fixate on. And I say lascivious stuff, and Tony Ringtail walks in the back. I love that. Timing is beautiful, Tony. So, here is the problem we face. The media wants to do stories on furry fandom. Very, very often, they are going to be asking questions about that stuff. We find ourselves in a changing environment. Attitudes in furry fandom toward the media are evolving. Early on, we said, these people are out to crucify us. We do not want any media here at our convention. We discovered that that was not the best policy. Because if you tell a reporter, I won't talk to you, you can't come in here, they're just itching to know what you're hiding. Yes. Exactly. I'll cover that. Trust me. The phrase no comment, if I hear you saying that, I'm going to kick your balls to the top of your head. I apologize, ladies. You're just going to have to use your imagination, all right? Yeah, they will. For the longest time, I refused to talk to members of the media because I've got a professional reputation that I have to maintain. I am a well-known public figure in my hometown of Malvern, Pennsylvania. I am a borough official. I am a scientist. I am somebody that is what some people would call a pillar of the community. So I didn't want to have a microphone shoved in my face saying, so, tell us about this CSI episode. So reporters would come to me and they would say, will you talk to us? I'd say, I'd rather not know. So they would go and find someone who would. Well, we can go on and on with many examples. I'm not going to name names, like Chew Fox. I'm not going to name that name. Little fucking bitch. Did I say that out loud? I'm terribly sorry. I'm very, very, I apologize. It is the wine. I blame the wine. They put something in it. Alcohol. I really didn't know I was doing this panel. It's honest. I thought I was just going to bed. But anyway. All right. Now, you've had the intro. Let's get down to brass tacks. Here we are at a convention. A member of the media. And you can tell members of the media. How can you tell a member of the media? You. Yes, you. Member of the media comes up. I'm not saying he's a member of the media. How would you be able to tell if somebody is a reporter? Yep. Here, talk to the microphone.
Sometimes the stuff is always hidden because, you know, they want to get like any type of comment they could.
Or they're doing this sort of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they talk into it, then you talk into it, and then they talk into it, and you talk into it. Yep. That camera often will have a big logo on it that says NBC or something. Lesson number 1. If you're at a convention, most conventions, and I hope to God this one has that policy too. If members of the media would like to film here, they usually will ask, may we come and film? The responsible convention chairman or public relations officer, whichever they have, will then investigate that reporter. If the last story the reporter did was, you know, science fiction fans, you know, misunderstood intellectuals, yes, you may come to my convention and film us. You know, if the last story they did was, you know, pygmies having sex on rugs in Burma, it's like, I don't think you're the sort of reporter we want here. If there is a media crew, a newspaper person at a convention, there usually will be a member of the staff with them. That is a signal to you that these people are okay. We trust these people not to give a bad impression of the fandom. What's a bad impression of the fandom? Here is where things also get a little bit gray. There are no easy answers in this panel. Remember I said first impressions are lasting impressions? Human beings also have this uncanny ability to selectively concentrate on information that supports their preconceived notions and to completely discount any data that seems to go against their preconceived notions. An example that's very, very near and dear to my heart, global warming. We have enough data that on paper would fill this room, corner to corner, floor to ceiling, front to back, to support the notion that human activity is contributing to accelerated increases in the temperature of the planet. We pretty much have established that. I can take a small 3-ring binder up here with the data that suggests not, and that's the one people are going to jump on. There, you see, global warming is a hoax. They're not going to pay attention to all that other data out there. So here's why I try to really put the best face on the fandom. I could spend an hour and a half in front of the camera telling these people, you know, about the creativity, about the distinctly higher than average intellect that we see in furry fans. The fact that we have here some of the greatest minds, some of the greatest imaginations, some of the greatest visionaries on the planet. We do charitable work. We do civic work. We are magnificent people. I can go on and on and on. And I can show them Dark Natasha's art. I can show them artwork from some of the finest artists coast to coast. And all it will take will be for the camera to see one picture where there's a willy hanging out and the audience is going to go, there, you see, it's all about sex. What did I tell you? People do that, don't they? So, here, the reporter comes to you, and you can see that it's a reporter. Lesson number 1, know who you're talking to. Actually, that's lesson number 1 is make sure this person should be here. Because as I said, there should be a staff member there. If a reporter comes up to you and there's no staff member running around, the chances are this is a person that the staff said we would rather you not come in. And they showed up anyway. There's a reason we didn't want them here. That person is dangerous. What do you do in that circumstance? Don't say, no comment. As the gentleman said, no comment means, yes, I did have sex with that little girl. No means, yes, I did have sex with that little girl. Yes, well, yeah. They don't know how to handle yes. They're like, aren't you going to deny it? No. That one's dangerous. Don't try that. Anyway, if one of these people comes up and starts asking you questions, especially if they're putting a big microphone in your face and doing this sort of thing, or, here's another favorite of mine. Forgive me if I put that down. Yeah.
I don't have to say it's smartphone.
I've seen this one. Yo. So, what is this convention about? That's when I usually say, well, this convention is about... What? Now I'll get that later. Now I'm back on your microphone. So, if you suspect a person's a reporter, simply find a staff member. All responsible furry conventions have a plan in place. They will either get someone to talk to this person, somebody who is trained to talk to the media. Time. Or they will throw them out. Lesson number 2, know who you're talking to. There are different kinds of media. I'm not going to put labels on them. I'll let you do that yourself. But if that big camera says CBS or NBC or PBS, or if the person introduces themselves as, I am from the local city paper in Pittsburgh, the Pittsburgh Herald Tribune, in Philadelphia, the Philadelphia Inquirer, a well-known big newspaper, that's probably safer than others. They are there for the human interest story. This is unusual. We want to know about this. What's going on in our city? Them, you probably can talk to without being pilloried. Does everybody know what I mean by pilloried? If you don't, look it up. If that camera says Comedy Central or HBO or TMZ or G4 or The Man Show or something like that, they are not, okay, Fox News, okay. The jury's out on that one. See, I don't trust Fox News. I don't think anybody here trusts Fox News. No, you don't have to say that. What I remember was when President Obama wrote that children. You remember when President Obama wrote that little children's book for his girls? No? Okay, look this up. This is a great story. Mr. Obama wrote a children's book for his little girls and then decided to publish it. It was 10 people in history that I admire and why he admired them. One of the people he admired was Chief Sitting Bull because of his tenacity in the face of overwhelming odds against him. This is a man who stuck to his beliefs and fought for his people to the very end. CNN, man, you remember Chief Sitting Bull, he was the one at Little Bighorn who had that little, disagreement with General Custer. CNN ran a headline that said, President Obama publishes a children's book. MSNBC ran the headline, President Obama publishes children's book. Fox News ran the headline, Obama praises insurgent who murdered American general. You don't believe me? Look it up. They later changed the wording a little bit, but some people got screenshots. Anyway, know who you're talking to. If it is an entertainment program, run away. Don't even talk to them. Don't say no comment. Don't say I don't want to be on camera. I have somebody you should talk to. Here, you need to talk to this gentleman right here. He'll talk to you. Find a staff member, preferably a large, imposing one with a New York accent and a handlebar mustache, and have them speak to the staff member. That's Tony Ringto, by the way, very good friend of mine. Anyway. And a victim of the media. They've got him, too. They get all of us. Now, I will cover that, believe me, if I have enough fuel. All right. Lesson 1, as I said, if there's no staff members here, there's a problem. Lesson 2, if it's someone you don't trust, you know, Comedy Central, something like that, somebody that obvious looking to laugh at you, find a staff member. You don't want to talk to these people. Let's say it's not a convention. Let's say it's a fur meet you're having somewhere. Let's say you're just out on the streets or halfway down the road out here. You're out in a fursuit with some people getting a photo shoot. And all of a sudden a person comes up to you and they put a microphone in your face and they say, "What's this all about?" Thank you very much. That's a good question. What do you say? What is this all about?
Nothing.
That's a lie. They know that. What are you hiding? What don't you want us to see? What is going on here? What's really going on here? Okay, I put you on the spot. I apologize. This is one of the greatest dangers we face. The eager furry who feels that this is my opportunity to save the fandom. I'm going to save all of us by giving these people the real story, and I will be a hero. No, you won't. No. There have been so many folks who have tried to take these people on. They're professionals. I'm sorry. You don't have the training to take these people on. I have the advantage of 1, being trained to speak to the media, and 2, being a comic. To the Ranting Griffin has the same training I have, because actually he used to be a cop. Ask him about that someday. And he's also a comic. Comics can think on their feet, and they know when someone's trying to get them. If they say, "What is this about?" you want to give them an answer that is going to, in very, very small words that are easy to understand, tell them honestly what's going on here. And this is true whether it's a member of the media or that nice little old lady with the gray dress who was up in the lobby earlier, you know, or just a businessman walking by and is curious when a 6-foot-tall raccoon walks by and he drops his wine and he's like, "Oh, my God." Right? What is this all about? What's it all about?
We're having fun.
That's one thing, yes. That's true. We're having fun. But what is this? Why do these people dress up like animals? I have so many people who will say, "It's a furry convention." Don't say that. They don't know what that means. Furry is our word. We know what that means. The world at large has no idea what's going on. But they understand the word cartoon. If you say it's a cartoon animal convention, that is a perfectly accurate description. And that's words they can understand. Plus, they are positive words. Here we get into lesson number 3, describing the fandom. I'll summarize it this way. Never try to describe us by explaining what we are not. Simple. And so many people do it. I've seen people. You're going to laugh, but I've seen people. You know, somebody comes up. "What's this all about?" "It's not a fetish." I'm like, oh. Because they are frightened. They think, "Oh, this person must know something, and I must defend the fandom." No, don't defend. Explain. Tell them what we are. Don't tell them what we are not. Why? Because human beings, we are an odd creature. You know, human psyche is one of the most bizarre things that has ever been invented. Ours is a very visual brain. We're visual animals. We take in most of our world by what we see. And our thought processes are also very visual. When I say something to you, when the face noises come from my skull and travel into your ears, your brain makes pictures. So if I say to you, for example, the word baseball, there is an image, a mental image of baseball. Either the game or the object appears in your head. That mental image is what we call memory. It's what we call association. When the word baseball is said later, that same mental image is going to come up. So, pardon, if I use the word cartoon to describe the fandom, the mental image that comes up is, Bugs Bunny, Roadrunner, Wile E. Coyote, really cool stuff like that. And that is now the association these people are going to have with our fandom, with our group, with our event. That's kind of cool. That's a nice association to have. If you try to describe what we are not, you're going to put other pictures in. They're not going to hear the word not. They're not going to hear we aren't. They're only going to see the association. My favorite example is down the road, we have a convention, pardon me, of, shall we say, motorcycle enthusiasts. Here we've got, 4,000 guys, all look like Tony back here. They're all wearing leather. And they're hanging out front, smoking cigarettes. And I go up to them and say, guys, what's this all about? And they look at each other. And one of them says, no comment. Okay, the first thing I got is, uh-oh. So, no, don't be standoffish. Don't give them that crap. Tell them, what's it about? Well, another guy steps up and says, well, a lot of people think that us bikers are a bunch of murdering, child-eating rapists who just smoke dope all the time and whip people with chains and drag them behind our bikes till their bodies fall apart. Yeah. There's probably no more than about 3-4% of us do that kind of stuff. And, I only know like 1 or 2 guys got a meth lab going. I don't got a meth lab myself. Not for a while, at least, no. And hardly any of us ever been in jail. And that movie you saw, The Wild Bunch, when you saw The Wild Bunch, all those guys out there raping the children and eating the cattle and stuff like that, we don't do that kind of stuff. Okay, great. Look at that card file in your brain of those mental images. What's going through your mind right now? What are you associating with this group of people? Absolutely terrible things. Now, I happen to know a lot of bikers. My little old mom used to be one. They are actually some of the most remarkable people that you've ever met. But you're not going to want to go near that hotel because of all the child raping that's going on, right? So, do not immediately jump in and try to defend. Don't tell these people what we're not. Take the time to tell them what we are. What are we? We're cartoon fans. We're dreamers. We're costumers. We're artists. We're animators. We're imaginers. We're builders of worlds. Tell them these things. That's some pretty cool stuff right there. There is no reason to jump right in and say, we're not what you saw on CSI, because they might not have seen the CSI episode. But they're going to look it up now. Yes, Lincoln. Happened to Micon? What? Talking to the microphone, son.
So I'm on the bus from the parking lot, because there was a bus from the parking lot.
I have a bus.
You don't have a bus. The parking lot supplies a bus. And there's a bunch of people going to work in the morning. And so they say, oh, I seen that convention. And they see I have a convention there, and they're talking positive things. And one person talks about, oh, I saw that guy in the costume playing the saxophone. And then one of the girls says, oh, yeah, I saw that person too. Does he ever wash his costume?
Yes. Yes, he washes that costume every single evening. We know he doesn't. But, don't give him bad images in their head.
What I said is that some people need washing more than others.
Actually, that pretty much describes his fan. Never mind, I'm not going to finish that sentence. But, that's perfect. What we are, what's going on. People are interested. This is a curiosity. Don't scare them. Don't frighten them off. There is so much greatness here. Present that to them. Now, what happens if they bring it up first? There is a wonderful old song where the lyrics go, you've got to accentuate the positive, eliminate the negative. If they bring it up first, yeah, you and I, all of us, we know, yeah, we've got some artwork in here that you don't want to put on the refrigerator when Grandma comes to visit. Or maybe you do. I don't know about your family, but okay, right? I know mine was. I miss my grandma. Anyway, what if they bring it up? Well, what about this CSI episode that I saw? Or, yeah, there was a guy in the lobby of the hotel, and he was drawing, I think his name was Gideon. He was drawing, oh boy. Actually, Gideon's a friend of mine. He has the good taste to close the book before. But if they bring it up first, okay, especially if it's the media, if it's a news camera, don't look guilty. That's all I can say, because people will. They'll go like, they got you now. They got you. They're going to start hammering home. So do you have any artwork like this? Do you collect this artwork? Tell me about this artwork. Where did this artwork come from? How much does this artwork cost? Do you collect this artwork?
Well, I'm not really too sure about this.
Oh, you're not sure if you collect the artwork? Come on. Okay, off the record. Turn the camera off. Off the record. Yeah. Oh, yeah, off the record. There is no off the record. Exactly. And that's lesson number, I don't know what we're up to. Lesson number something. 4, thank you. There's no off the record. It does not exist. Anything you say can and will be held against you in the court of public opinion. So what do? There's many things you can do. Don't concentrate on it. Find a way to tactfully change the subject, dismiss it, laugh it off. That works if you're a comic. I do that all the time. People say, what about that CSI episode? I burst out laughing. Oh, God, that. We thought that was the funniest damn thing we ever saw. They could have come to us to get some of those costumes. It's just the ones they had on there look like a bunch of damn, homemade Halloween things. Does that sort of thing go on at your convention? I get asked that question. I got to ask that question by my coworkers. Does that sort of thing go on at your convention? Look, I run the thing. If that sort of thing was going on at my convention, number 1, I would like to think I'd know about it. Number 2, why am I not invited? Yeah, you're all laughing. Ha ha, it's a joke, it's a joke. You notice I didn't say no. Never lie. But you can minimize it. You can dismiss it. But you got to be tactful. Here's where there's no lesson I can give you. This is simply something you have to figure out yourself. If they got your back against the wall, how do you dismiss it? You can play dumb. I never ran anything like that. Or, yeah, I think I knew a guy who was into that stuff. People don't really talk to him much. Yeah, they do, but no. Downplay it. That's the word I'm looking for. You downplay it, and then you move on to something that gives us a little bit better of an image. Because remember, that public out there, all they need to do is see that one little sliver of the seamy underbelly of any fandom, and they are going to immediately pounce on it and say, oh, yeah, that's right. These people are a bunch of baby-eating sexual deviants. They got the baby between their teeth there. I can see it. That's to the Ranting Griffin, actually, not me. I got a phone call during dinner once at Anthrocon. I was having dinner with the guests of honor. My phone rang, and I stepped outside to take the call because I step outside to take calls. It was a shock jock from a radio station. Hi, you're live on the air. Oh, boy. I said, well, I was kind of in the middle of dinner. What can I do for you? He said, we want to talk about that convention of yours down there. Sorry, that convention of Yin's down there, this in Pittsburgh. He said, so what's going on there? And I said, well, basically, it's artists and costumers and, wonderful dreamers. You know the shtick. I've been through it a million times. He said, all right. All of our people out there know this is all about sex, isn't it? You people are having sex up there. This is a sex thing. This is a big fetish thing. And I was like, well, it's kind of unfair to categorize it that way. I mean, that is not what we're all about. What we're here for is this. No, that's right. You're all about sex. It's sex this, sex that. Come on, admit it. We want to hear you say it. Say it. This is all about sex. This is all about sex. I finally said, all right, you win. You caught me. Furries are the only people on Earth who have sex, and you're just jealous. There was about 5 or 6 seconds of silence. And, yes, they don't like dead air. And then, yeah, well, thank you very much. Okay, this has been Dr. Samuel Conway down in Ethicon. Thank you very much. Okay, now back to click. There was... Oh, yeah. Exactly. You are never live. Ever since the wardrobe malfunction, yeah, nothing is ever live anymore. Don't panic. You got that camera staring you, that big black eye, you got this thing recording your voice. Don't let it get the best of you. You are still in charge. The reporter will try to pressure you, will try to get you off your guard. You're still in charge. If your back is to the wall and you got no better answer, play dumb. That's always worked for me, and I'm real good at it. Like that one down in Arkansas. So, have you ever heard of anybody having sex in a fursuit? I've had that question. So, what's it like to have sex in a fursuit? The best answer I found to that was to go like this. Dude, that's kind of sick. You're not into that, are you? I don't think I want to be talking to you anymore. That puts them off their guard. Because they're like, no, I don't do that. Then why'd you ask about it? If you're looking for that here, you ain't going to find it. Especially with that. Okay, leave that to me. I know how to do that. There was another one. I can't remember what her name was. It was one of these women's radio call-in programs where they talk about women's issues. And they sent me an email, we want to talk to you about furry fandom. We're going to talk about furry fandom and all this stuff. And this is going to be, and it's always the same. Every single one of these emails. We understand that furries have been treated unfairly by the media, but we... Yeah. I have probably 600 emails in my archive that all have that phrase in them. And they're all lying. No, but we want a story. Because how do these people make their money? They make their money by getting lots of people to read their newspaper, by getting lots of people to listen to their program, by getting people talking about and tweeting about and basically covering for them in the social media what they have just presented. It's got to be something really, really interesting that's going to catch the public's attention. My stupid talking head up there going on and on about imagination and creativity and dreaming and stuff, that doesn't sell papers. Furry art with a dick hanging out sells papers. Because it's, oh my God, that's terribly shocking, Yeah, you goddamn Puritan. Look who founded this country. Bunch of people came over here because they were terrified to look at each other's ankles. But I'll get off that soapbox. I was going somewhere with that. And I'll probably remember it tomorrow. But anyway, I'll just shift gears. Okay. That's right, the radio interview. They were all big on, yes, we're very curious about what furry fandom is all about, and our listeners want to know this, and really, what is the driving nature and blah, 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 all that shit I've heard before. So I got on the radio. I called in, And of course, when you call and you're first talking to the sound engineer, and they're okay, we're going to have you on in 15 seconds, and they give you a little thing. Try to keep it short if you're okay. If you're worried about being on the radio, just start rambling, because that wastes airtime. Stammer, stutter. You know that what do you call the they're gonna get bored with you real quick. 15 seconds went by. They said, try to keep it short. We call it the sound bite. They want short, concise answers that are not going to make people get bored and walk away from the radio. So then I heard the sound change, and I heard the announcer come on, and the music comes back up. And we have with us on the telephone tonight Dr. Samuel Conway from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, who's going to be talking about the furry fetish. I was ready for it. I was expecting it. I would have been disappointed if they hadn't said that. Because I knew this was not CNN. This was not ABC News. This is a damn talk show on the radio run by a woman who can't get any other job. So I said, yes, thank you very much for having me on. It's probably a little incorrect to describe it as a fetish, after all. You know, it's not exactly like we're all about sex or anything. And it went on and trying to distract the conversation from that and guide it to something I wanted to talk about. But she kept bringing it back. So you're saying that there's no sexual element to this at all? I said, well, there's sexual elements to life. That's what human beings are all about. To say there's no sexual element at all would be incorrect. Oh, so there is a sexual. Tell us about that. And I just kept trying to bat them back. And after about 2 minutes, I paused and I said, Miss, if you don't mind my saying, you seem to have a very unhealthy obsession with sex. Have you thought of talking about that with someone? And again, about 6 seconds of dead air. Oh, well, this has been Dr. Samuel Conway. Thank you very much for being on the air. Click! Okay, we've covered, when the camera's in your face, what to say, what not to say. If you get evasive, if you push the camera away, if you say no comment, if you do anything that indicates you don't want to talk to them, they're going to think that's blood in the water, these people. They are going to come after it and say, what's going on here? If you tell them, I'm uncomfortable being on camera, I'm a little shy, I'm not supposed to be here, the boss thinks I'm in the men's room, okay, that's believable. You can tell them that. But most importantly, steer them to somebody in charge of the convention. If it's out on the street, during a fur meet or something, again, you're on your own. Some of the best ways to handle it are just to be dull. Because what they're looking for, again, is that story. They're looking to sell the newspaper. They're looking to sell advertising space on the radio. Don't give that to them. Let them get a real job. You're not here to make money for them. And I've told this when I get the griping from Comedy Central and, the Man Show, people like that. Well, why won't you have it? And it's like, listen, we're just trying to get together and let our hair down and have some fun for the weekend. We're not doing it to be entertainment fodder for you. That's not what we're here for. These people don't want to have to hide in their rooms because you're going to destroy their lives. I'm sorry. Oh, no, we're not going to do that. Yeah, excuse me. As my granny used to say, suck me, okay? She did used to say that. I really do miss my granny. Yes, Lincoln. Talk in the microphone.
I don't think I'm going to say this.
Okay, don't. Now, every one of us here probably has had a run-in. Poor Tony used to run a very, very, very popular picnic, furry picnic in New Jersey. Unfortunately, as I understand, and correct me, Tony, you ran afoul of a local politician who realized he could use that to further his own ends. That particular politician, now this has not really been proven, but I am willing to state, what? What do you mean? Oh, okay, you're not the politician. I was about to go over the table at you there, boy. Be careful. Basically, this mysterious photo of two furries simulating sex on the hood of a fire truck at the picnic supposedly surfaced somewhere, and because of that, you cannot have the picnic here anymore, and the fire company is going to be censured and all that stuff. Show us the photo. No. Okay, furries have a saying, pics or it didn't happen. I really wish you'd have let me talk to the guy, especially when I wasn't sober. That would have been fun. So the media can be your friend. It can also be your worst enemy. For those of you who don't know, I'm the guy in charge of Anthrocon. We're the biggest furry convention in the world. I got 6,000 people coming this year to Pittsburgh. I have worked very, very, very hard to foster good relationships with the local media and with the city of Pittsburgh. The city of Pittsburgh loves us. The media likes us. I want to keep it that way. Because, again, as Granny used to say, 1,000 attaboys don't equal one aw shit. Some of you here have heard the story of the orange-haired man. Yeah, those who know the story just went like that. When the media shows up at Anthrocon, I am told immediately, because I want to go and speak to them. Why me? Do you honestly think I want this to be the face of the fandom? No. This is the worst face to put on camera. But if I don't talk to them, they'll find someone who will. One year, I was late getting down there. Now, they're on a schedule. Their editor is telling them, we want you back here by noon. We have to have this in the can by 3. Since I didn't get down there in time, they found a young gentleman who had bright orange dyed hair. And when I got down there, Channel 4's camera was trained on him. And I kind of walked behind the camera. I'm not going to steal his spotlight. Okay, he's having a good time. Let's see how he does. And I got behind the camera, was kind of watching him over the camera. So I don't want to be on camera. That's bad. And as I stood over the cameraman's shoulder, I heard this guy say, a lot of people think we're a bunch of sexual deviants. That's not really so. No more than 10% of us are sexual deviants. And over the cameraman's shoulder, I'm going, and he, on camera, looked over and said, oh, I better shut up. The chairman's giving me the evil eye. I was so certain that that was going to sink us, but it didn't, because the news is friendly to Anthrocon in my town. And they used that segment, but they left that part out. One segment that came on that I thought certain was going to be the end of Anthrocon and furry fandom and all of it was when Channel 4, WTAE, they're our favorite station. We like Channel 4. They showed up, and their reporter wanted to have an interview with the guest of honor, and he wanted to have some fursuiters lined up behind the guest of honor. That's a great shot, right? Here's the guest of honor, the luminary. I am a great guest of honor person, famous and all that stuff. And here is a nice row of fursuiters. By complete coincidence, 5 or 6 of the absolute finest fursuits in the fandom just happened to be hanging out in the lobby at that moment. Oh, Uncle Kage orchestrated that. You goddamn right I did! Oh, look. This suit is made by, who made this suit? Clockwork Creations. We've never met before, have we? Here, why don't you just stand behind the people here? And I was standing behind the camera. I'm like, this is great, this is great. This is some of the greatest footage we've ever had. And while this was going on, a gentleman in a husky suit walked up behind one of the fursuiters, threw his arms around him, and started going oomph, 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 oomph behind him. Would you hold this for me, please? Thank you very much. Have you got it? Both paws. Use both paws. That's fine. Just don't move. And don't drink it. you can't get on camera. So I kind of ducked down behind the fursuiters. I'm like, hey, psst, hey, you. Bam! I just threw him to security and said, get him out of here. I've never seen him since. I don't know what they did, but I got a really deep river behind my convention center. And I have plausible deniability. That night, I was ready to shoot myself in the head with a bazooka. I was upstairs in my room with a Saturday Night Special cocked, holding it to my forehead, surrounded by some very, very fine members of the German furry community who were trying to wrestle it away from my head as the 6 o'clock news came on. And they're saying, Kage, just relax. When the news comes on, we shall see how they handle it. It's going to be awful. It's going to be awful. I just want to die. Now, Sven, those of you who don't know, the chairman of Eurofurrence he's got the greatest name in furry fandom. Sven Tegedoff. Honest, that's his name, Sven Tegedoff. He wrestled the gun out of my hand and put it far enough away that I couldn't grab it. And he said, we're just going to watch the news and see how it comes out. Yes, sir. When a German says it, you just have to. I'm sitting there with tears running down my face. And they're all kind of holding onto my shoulders, waiting for the television to explode or something. Here comes the news, right? And they show the reporter talking here, and you see the husky come up off camera and into the scene, and then, as the interview's still going on, the visual cuts to a panoramic view of the dealer's room, and then it cuts back just in time to see the husky going whee off camera this way. And then it cut to me, my stupid talking head up there with the big potato nose. Yes, creativity and dreaming and blah, 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 blah. I'm sitting there sobbing hysterically. Sven is comforting me, and good old BBF. You all know BBF? He is a professional cameraman. That's why he takes those great videos. He works for a German news agency. He's good media. He likes American beer, believe it or not. He was so hopped up on this stuff, whereas I'm sitting there, and they're all saying, oh, we're so pleased you're not dead right now. He was too busy critiquing the camera work. He's there writing the TV saying, this is awful. This cameraman should be put against the wall and shot. This is terrible. Look at this. The lighting is all flat and your face is in the wrong part of the frame. They've cut off your entire foreskin. What? He said, your foreskin is cut off. I'm like, it's an American thing, dude, really. We'll talk about language later, all right? I'm kind of running out of time. Any questions? This was a bit more rambling than I usually like to be. Again, I blame the conditions. Questions? Yes, sir. Wait.
Pretty much all the information you said can go to pretty much, any type of group. It's not just furries. Pretty much anybody, sports fans, Christians, minority groups, everybody is a victim of the media. Pretty much everything you say can go to pretty much, anybody. If they do it correctly, you can put a good face on anybody. But it's difficult because media is far too influential on everybody.
Absolutely. Always put the best face on whatever you do. You don't have to lie and say, no, there is no baby raping going on here. I hope there's not. But those bikers down the way, if they had simply said, we like motorcycles and puppies, that's all you need to know. I will tell you my personal nightmare. Because, remember I said you got to watch out for the non-news stations, the entertainment stations? My nightmare is to be interviewed by Stephen Colbert. Because he would have me. I can handle anyone, but I can't handle him. Because once they have your face and your voice, they can do with it whatever they want. Have you ever watched Stephen Colbert's interviews he does with people, do you think that those are not cut and pasted together? Here's how my interview with Stephen Colbert would go. He'd sit forward in his chair and he'd say, "So tell me, what's it like to have sex in a fursuit?" And I'd say, "I wouldn't know, sir. I mean, these suits, they're you know, they're very, very expensive, and you don't want to damage them, and you could get what a strange thing you bring up. This is dreadful. Why would you ask me such a thing?" And he'd say, "Well, I can understand that, but you have your convention in July. I mean, it's got to be 1,000 degrees out there, and there are people out on the streets. Aren't they suffering?" And I'd say, "Well, absolutely. It's hot. It's terribly, terribly hot. Indescribably hot. Here's what's going to show up on TV. So what's it like to have sex in a fursuit? Oh, it's hot. It's indescribably hot." If Stephen Colbert were to have me on his show, I would just sit down and say, "Look, let me just say a string of stupid things right now and save you some time." But you know what? If it were to happen, Uncle Kage always keeps an ace up his sleeve. I think I would have a word with the producer ahead of time to make sure this was cool. But when the interview was over, I'd say, "Mr. Colbert, do I remember reading that you have a morbid fear of bears?" And while this is going on, some fursuiters would be coming on behind him. There's another saying in furry fandom, pardon me, ladies, but it's true. People say, "You don't fuck with Uncle Kage, that's why." Any other last-minute questions? I should probably turn this microphone over to somebody who really deserves it and finish. I'm almost out anyway. Questions, comments? Yes, sir.
When you mentioned you and to the Ranting Griffin having training with dealing with the media, what particular training do you mean by that?
I have sat in classes where we've done role-playing. They tell you the things the media will do. They will try to get you off guard. They will ask you embarrassing questions to make you stammer. They will ask you panic questions. Here's one of my favorites. This is something you learn in courses called competitive intelligence. For example, let's see, you work in computers, right?
Oh, afraid not, sir.
Oh, no, what do you work in?
Oh, more old-fashioned mechanics.
Old-fashioned mechanic. Oh, so you're an auto mechanic.
Yes, yes.
Okay, you must have been in this talk before. One thing that is very, very common they will do is they will state something to you that is not correct, and you will want to correct it. Do you know what time it is? No! Do you know what time it is? Yes, I know what time it is. You just gave me information. I didn't know what time it was. Okay, that's a very, very simplistic thing. But they will do things like that to try to get you to say things when you're not thinking about it. You know, they will say, "So, Dr. Conway, you are in pharmaceuticals, right?" And I'll say, "Actually, no, I'm in polymer chemistry." Now they're starting to figure out where I work. There's only so many polymer chemistry firms in southeastern Pennsylvania. They're going to narrow it down. You know, "And you live in Malvern?" Yeah. They will ask little things. You know, little things where they just try to get you to say something because you're not answering the question that you're afraid of. You're answering this question, but it's still giving them the information. This is true if you're ever on a witness stand. If you're ever called into court, keep this in mind. You answer the question that was asked. You never volunteer information. This is outside the scope of this talk, but it's a good thing to know. You answer the question. You do not volunteer information because lawyers do the same thing. Any other questions? Did I answer that? I don't remember. Yes. You had a question. What's your question? I love fursuit questions. My answer is... That was funny. Yes, Lincoln, yes.
One of the things that it's bad to be accosted by the news media is after some event like what had Tony has, and when they come up to everybody.
Time's up. Oh, no, I'm sorry, go on.
You know what I'm saying. It's like
Yep.
After some event that was publicized, they'll come up and interview. Were you involved with this?
Yes, were you involved? What's going on here? What happened? How many people are dead? What happened here? And they will just fire these questions at you, trying to get you to say stuff. Yep. And that is the bottom line to all of it. Keep your head. Don't panic. Think about what you're saying. I had the misfortune to be involved many years ago in Arkansas with support services for the FBI. They were searching unhappily for the body of a young girl who had been murdered, and her body had been hidden in a wooded area. They called on Red Cross to, get water and relief for the people doing the searching. I watched a special agent from the FBI get interviewed by reporters. There were 30 of them all surrounding him, microphones shoving in his face. And they would ask him a question. And they would say, "So, can you tell us, have you found the body yet?" And he would stop. At this time, we do not have a positive location. Always 7, 8, 9, 10 seconds pause. He would absolutely not blurt anything out. No matter what they asked, he would just stop, he would wait, he would think about what he was saying, and then he would answer the question. I admired that. Because when they came up to me, again, I didn't know anything, and I told him that. So, Mr. Red Cross man, what's your role in this? Well, I got some water here, and I got this real kick-ass radio. They gave me this radio here. Oh, so have you heard anything on the radio? Tell us about the radio. What's come across the radio? Well, I don't know, because they ain't done giving me a battery for it. But it looks cool. I'm just walking around and then just went away. I did know. I knew exactly, because I'd heard on the radio everything was going on. I had brought in for lunch some pizza. And they sent pizza from a local pizzeria, and they hadn't cut the pizza. I had this giant wheel. And I'm like, what am I going to do? And this nice old gentleman, kind of looked like Grizzly Adams, with big white Santa Claus beard. Yeah, he was a guy from Arkansas, you're right. He actually looked like Grizzly Adams. He comes over, he leans in, he said, "Yeah, you got some water in there, boy?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "Sir, I got this pizza for lunch, and I don't have any way to cut it." He said, "All right, no problem. Here you go. Use this." He pulls out this big folding buck knife. And I'm like, whoa, wow. Okay, thank you very much. This thing was like, pizza. Yep. Okay, that's it. That's done. So I said, "That's a really nice knife there." And later on in the afternoon, a sheriff's deputy come up, and I called him, "Hey, deputy, you hungry? I got some pizza up here." And he stopped. He said, "Son, we found what we was looking for. The boys don't want pizza." I'm like, oh. I said, "Oh, all right." Okay, so I had a few pieces. And what am I going to do? Nom. I kind of felt bad. Sad day. And the day came up, and they're heading back in their cars. I'm looking for Grizzly Adams. Didn't see him. Ate myself another slice of pizza and called out to the sheriff. He come up. I said, "Sheriff, have you seen a kind of short, fat fellow looks like Santa Claus around here, the guy with the big white beard?" He said, "Oh, the coroner." I think that's all you need to know for that story. Anything else in this room coming up now? Do I got to get out of here? I don't know. It depends. If there's something else coming in here, we got to go. But oh, so I got to go. Okay, Lincoln, you have 30 seconds. Tell your story.
I'm in a volunteer fire department.
No, tell your story.
I'm in a volunteer fire department. Once a long time ago, 3 people who were now ex-members got arrested for arson. And then we had a little meeting at the fire department that night, and I had to walk through the news media, which they just kind of like glue themselves to the firehouse at that point. So I think there were more satellite antennas than I'd ever seen before, and and live cameras, and every time someone got out of their car, all the lights went on.
And it's the same thing. They're shoving these microphones in your face. What can you tell us? How many people are involved? Have other firefighters been indicted? Have you investigated other firefighters? That's a big one. Are there any other firefighters involved? No comment. Yes. Oh boy, that's a problem right there. All right, we're done. Thank you very much.